My name is Heidi. I work with Vocational Rehabilitation Services. And what's your name?
Shelley George.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So I'm curious why you've come in today for this appointment.
I need help finding another job.
Okay. Are you aware of the VR mission, the Vocational Rehabilitation's mission?
No.
Okay. Have you ever heard of the VR program?
Video program?
Oh, sorry. VR, Vocational Rehabilitation.
Yes, I have
yeah.
heard of it.
So what do you understand the VR program to be?
To help me find a job more for my situation, being hard of hearing. I need help finding something else to do other than what I've been.
Okay. I'd like to ask you some questions about your background to help me to kind of understand where you're coming from. Okay. So how did you lose your hearing?
Nobody knows.
Were you born with hearing loss?
No, it came about 14. I started losing my hearing a little at a time, and by 23 I was wearing hearing aids, and it's a slow decline from there.
Did your audiologist explain to you why you had a hearing loss?
No, I don't know. The ENT had no idea.
Is there any family history of hearing loss?
No.
Oh, wow, nothing. Okay. Any great-grandparents or distant cousins or anyone that you know of that had a hearing loss?
My grandma in her 80s started wearing hearing aids.
Okay. So, no other relatives then? No distant cousins or anything like that, no? Wow, okay. So this is an application for you to apply for the Vocational Rehabilitation Services. We just need you to fill this out with all the information necessary on the application. And I'd like to gather some of your work history. These right here, they don't exactly explain a whole lot about work history. So I will kind of gather your information about your work history, and that will help me to kind of know where you're coming from also. What kind of training you've had, or did you have any higher education? Did you go to college? Did you have any training that you've done, or anything like that? It's like a work program, high school core. A lot of seniors have work programs that they can be involved in that lead to employment. And if you've never had that program before or been in that program before, that's okay. What kind of education you have, so that's all here that we'll talk about.
Okay.
So maybe you could go ahead and explain to me some of your work history.
Okay.
And I'll make notes.
Okay. After high school, I went to beauty school. I was working as a cosmetologist by 19, and I've done that for 25 years. But my hearing is getting where I refuse to answer the phone anymore because I cannot get names and numbers. I can't hear the person in my chair anymore. I have to come around to the front and face them a lot, and when I go back behind them, I can't hear anymore what they're saying. So if they talk a lot, I have to stop and keep going forward or spinning them around. And it slows down time. And then when the noise gets too bad, when there's more than, say, 2 of us working at a time, the noise is so great, I can't understand anything. And at that point, I become a very boring hairdresser. And I'm in Arizona when I lived in Arizona. I had my clientele conditioned to it, and I had no idea. But when I moved to Salt Lake 3 years ago and tried to start again, it was not easy.
Okay. So did you notice that you were making any mistakes with some of the work that you had done?
No, I'm always right up front. I repeat back everything, and sometimes in a different way to make sure I got it right. But then I go back behind, and I'm again the boring hairdresser, and it takes a lot of personality to keep customers.
I guess I'm curious, how much hearing loss do you have now, or how much hearing do you have? Do you know what I mean? Have you seen your audiogram, and do you understand that?
Yeah, the last audiogram I had, the speech discrimination part, the woman was doing it, and I had 30% and like 25% of speech discrimination. It's like the classic ski slope loss. And I've lost some of these tones altogether, and I have a mild loss in the low tones.
So is the audiogram, like, does it, with the low pitches, do you hear better in the low pitches?
Low pitches.
Okay, so it looks like it just goes down, the slope is,
Slope,
yeah.
Black run.
Yeah. Oh, I love to ski myself, so I can relate. Okay, so what kind of hearing aids do you use right now?
Phonak NATOs.
Okay. Is it a type 3 or a type 4?
I think 4.
Okay. Yeah, the most expensive one, the top quality of all of the, with all the features and everything, is that what you, so do you have the ICOM, the Bluetooth?
No, I didn't have Bluetooth capabilities when I bought them.
Ah, darn.
But I did get an FM system hooked up to the FM receiver built into my hearing aid.
So are you working now, or, yeah, so are you working right now?
No. No, I had a bad experience with one of the other girls trying to force me to answer the phone all the time. She was nice, but it was just a lot of pressure from her to answer the phone, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I sort of quit. Even though everybody else was okay with it, I worked next to the one, and I just had the pressure all the time.
Okay, so really being able to use the phone was an impediment to the employment because that was a function that you couldn't really use, right? So I guess also you do rely heavily on communication though in that type of a job, right? Working with your customers.
Yeah, well, the phone is the building clientele. We hope for the new clients to come in and I can book them with me. But if I can't answer the phone, I lose some ability to get clients.
Oh, I see. Do you have any other work history, or has it only been cosmetology that you've done for the past?
I did that my whole life, adult life.
Do you feel that you have any other skills that you know of that you could use?
I have thought about massage, because that shouldn't involve a lot of talking.
Oh, sometimes it does, but sometimes not. I guess it depends. If the person is laying on their stomach and you're massaging their back, they may talk to you. They may try to explain to you where it hurts, where they want you to work. I guess it may depend on, the positioning, if they're on their back or something. If you're working on their lower back or upper back, I guess it could depend. So if you're not sure what you really want to do, we can provide a vocational assessment. And that would probably be a good thing to do.
Okay.
Okay. I'm glad that you brought that up with your work history. That tells me a lot. And just being able to get the information here as we fill out the application, we can go ahead and make another appointment. And also I'd like to look into a possibility of retraining, having additional training or some other kind of training that we could provide. We also have on-the-job training that we could do, but if you'd rather, we could also maybe have you go back to school and look into that. So really, I guess we'll just look at that vocational assessment and see what would be best.
Okay, that sounds good.
So what I think I'd like is, I'd like to see your audiogram, and that will help determine your eligibility for our services.
Okay.
I'd like to do that as soon as possible, probably within the 60-day time frame. Oh, I don't want to procrastinate, you know, and so we want to do that within 60 days. So really, the sooner the better, and we can quickly move on. And we can establish an appointment for a vocational assessment, and that takes about a 2-month time frame waiting period to have that assessment. So it does take a while to get in. There's a lot of clients that are trying to do the same assessment or the evaluation. So.
Okay.
Also, if you'd like to know more about the program, you could kind of look through this. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I don't use the phone either, really, so email is my best friend. But yeah, you can look through the program here. And also, I want to explain this. Maybe, do you know about this, CAP? It's the Client Assistance Program. As an example, if you go through VR services, we have a plan and everything. If you disagree with the decision of the counselor, you can contact the Client Assistance Program and you can appeal the decision. So maybe we have some kind of a disagreement or something, we can go through an appeal process to try and solve the problem and really take care of that. This is really an advocacy group for clients with disabilities. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, well, nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
All right. Thanks.